Good morning and welcome to OSTOS. We're very excited to have you here. We're excited that the Centers for Teaching and Learning have also joined together over the last few years to share ideas. There's a wealth of information that's happening and best practices that are happening within CUNY. We don't necessarily have to go to all of these wonderful conferences in other states to find out what's happening in our own backyard. So this is one way for us to share information. And I want to thank Michael and Carlos for their willingness to co-chair the council and for Lucinda for continually supporting it. So this morning in Inside Higher Ed, there was actually something on OER and text, well not necessarily OER, but on the cost of textbooks. It was called The Slippage Problems, a textbook example. It was a blog by John Warner. Did anybody see it? So, not to read the whole thing to you, but they're talking about like a lot of problems in life are the result of slippage. So they start off talking about the weight gain that we have during the holidays where, slowly the pounds keep adding on, and relating that to the cost of textbooks. So the author of this had said, I was brought short by an example of slippage while preparing for the semester. I pulled out my well-worn second edition of Writing Fiction, A Guide to Narrative Craft by Janet Burroway. I purchased my copy new at the Illinois Union Bookstore in fall of 1990, and by God, it still had the price tag on the cover, $18.75. At the time, I'm sure I thought the price was felonious. At just under 400 pages in format, it's only slightly larger than a trade paperback, which retailed for $9.95 at the time. It's an excellent textbook, probably the most used textbook in creative writing classes over the last 30 plus years. I have assigned the book in my classes in the past. It is now in its 9th edition. Its list price, $113.80. Amazon will sell it for you new for $89.40. Used copies are as low, in quotes, as $75. What I paid in 1990 indexed in inflation would result in a price of $34.62. Textbooks are crazily priced. The access codes that they ask you now to get all of their online materials prohibits our students from getting used copies then, because it's the access codes that cost so much. We all talk about how ASAP has all of these extra resources for our students, and the reason that ASAP is so good is because, or so effective, because there's free tuition, they get their free textbooks, they get free Metro cards. Now with the governor's proposed, free college, our students might have the opportunity to do that. The more we use open educational resources, now our students are getting those quote-unquote free textbooks. So the only thing we'll have left to try to fight for is the Metro cards, which will be a lot easier to fund than trying to fund the entire ASAP package. And the other great thing with open educational resources is that as a faculty member, we have our curriculum of what we want to teach, but so many times we follow a textbook that a publisher wrote. Having, really focusing on what materials we want to use to support our curriculum is really making the course what we want our students to learn and not what a publisher or an author of a textbook wanted to learn. So I'm thrilled that we're able to do this and that there's so much interest in this topic.
Thank you, Provost. I want to also invite Dean Lucinda So, the University Dean for Undergraduate Studies, to give welcoming remarks as well.
Thanks, Carlos. Good morning, everybody. So thanks, Carlos, Michael, and Mari for putting this together. I knew that they would do a good job. I'll be very brief. I have been a big advocate of OER for many years, and the CDLs are sort of under the Office of Undergraduate Studies. And you all on the committee know that for the last couple of years, every time you talk about doing a retreat, I'm like, OER, OER, do something on OER, because OER is a faculty development issue. I mean, it really is, in terms of implementing it. I come from the library faculty, so as a librarian, I know the cost of textbooks, and I know that over the years, we used to have a textbook project here within CUNY, where a lot of money would go to the libraries to buy textbooks to put on reserve. And that sort of got messed up a few years ago. And at the time, the University Dean of Libraries, Curtis Kendrick, took some of that money and sort of seeded the sort of central OER initiative. And so we've been sort of quietly working behind the scenes. Library faculty have, because essentially you really need library faculty to do this, because it's about information literacy, identifying resources, and God knows, faculty have been trying to do this for years, but, and God bless you all, you're violating copyright all over the place, you're just putting up any article on your Blackboard site, you think you're not doing this right, sometimes you are, but you really do need to work with your library faculty, because they're the ones who are making sure you're getting good materials, they've been vetted, they've, the resources that you're using are appropriate and timely and so forth. So today, we have what I think is sort of really a perfect storm, which is, in my position, I also have oversight over the Q funds. That's the Coordinated Undergraduate Education. That's like $15 million a year that's going to the colleges. So we have I have the ability to kind of direct the colleges in terms of their priorities and what they should be looking to fund. And this is one of those areas that we can sort of gently nudge the colleges. So in every venue I can, I'm sort of telling, the Q directors and the provosts, this is a really good use of Q funds. You should be spending Q, you can use Q for this if you like. I can't tell them, make them do it, but I think there's a lot of interest in funding some of these projects. Second, the provosts are suddenly very interested. In December at the last Provost Council, the University Dean of Libraries and myself did a quick presentation on OER. The Vice Chancellor wants us to do another more in-depth presentation at the next big meeting. When we start looking at the cost savings with textbooks, if faculty can create these OER courses, it's astronomical. I mean, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars per campus per year. So I do see it as a perfect storm where you've got the resources, you've got the will of the provost, and we need the instructional expertise of faculty and of the CETL directors to drive this on your campuses. The library faculty over the last couple of years developed some terrific instructional modules. Like I keep telling the CETL directors, you don't have to start from scratch, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. People have been doing this for the last couple of years, and it really is a process, just like learning to teach an online course is not just like putting a syllabus up online. Being able to create and transform a course into an OER course is a process that you need to work with your library faculty on and learn how to do it properly. So the purpose of today was to share all that expertise, to show what has been done already and what's being done, to kind of hook people up with their library faculty and the teaching faculty to create these models. Because I really think the will is there, the money is there, and this is really a time for you all to shine, both as faculty. And it's a good reason to support faculty development on your campus, and it's really an opportunity for faculty to step up. And so I think that's the purpose of today. So I'm glad everybody showed up. Actually, we had to shut registration off. Usually this has like 15 or 20 people. It's like a nice little retreat with the CETL directors. And at 40, I was like, whoa, 40, like, who are all these people coming to this retreat? But so it makes me think we may want to have another event later and have it be more open, maybe something in the fall, some kind of symposia or something like that. So I think that we can maybe start thinking about, I just made that up just now. So, all right, so now I guess we're going to turn it over to Anne. Do you want to introduce her or shall I? Go right ahead. So Anne Fiddler she works at the central office with me and she worked with Curtis. And she's going to give you an overview of sort of the state of OER and CUNY right now. And she's brilliant. She's working behind the scenes, doing this for a while. And there's a lot happening. So here's just sort of laying the groundwork for where we are. You can see where you can kind of be plugged into this situation. But this is Anne, and she's gonna enlighten you with the status. Yeah.
I see it's being recorded. Will we have access to what's being said later?
I don't know, Carlos. Yeah. He's the man. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. And Carlos, thank you again.
Hi, everybody. So I have been working for Office of Library Services for a couple of years now, and under the real guidance of Curtis Kendrick, we have sort of picked up the ball with OER because we thought that the libraries had a place. So, for those of you who are uninformed, OER are teaching, learning, and research resources that reside in the public domain or have been released under an intellectual property license that permits their free use and repurposing by others. Open educational resources include full courses, course materials, modules, textbooks, streaming videos, text, software, grading rubrics, and any other tools, materials, and techniques used to support and access to knowledge. Like the others were saying, there's so much out there now that was not out there before, and the idea of adopting OER for courses is really feasible now, and it doesn't require creation of the materials. I mean, there's OpenStax textbooks, which has widely used textbooks for most of the major general ed courses. The University of Minnesota Open Textbook Library. This page, and we will give you a handout of this too, is just the licenses that are available to you, or the license that you should be looking for when you're looking for these materials. I'm not going to go into detail about it. But why OER at CUNY? Obviously, the no-brainer is it saves students money. I'll give you a little calculation in a few minutes, but it increases student success and retention. You're going to definitely hear from that from the panelists today. It increases enrollments. It enhances pedagogy, and obviously it serves CUNY's mission. So as they were talking about before, the percent change since 1978 for textbooks compared to medical services, new home prices, and consumer index is indicated here, 812%. You'll see this at every OER presentation that you attend, most likely. So textbooks are very important. Fun fact of CUNY, reserved textbooks constitute 2% of all library print collections out of the 6.2 million volumes, yet they account for 30% of all circulation transactions. So that's a pretty staggering thing to think about. It's not really feasible for CUNY libraries to keep up with textbooks because they do change every year. So the beauty of OER is that you can update your materials as you go along. Used rentals, print reserves, ebooks don't solve the problem. Used textbooks are undermined by new editions. Reserves, rentals create a system where we remove books from students' hands. So a 2014 survey found that nearly half of students, 49%, were actually willing to choose one university over another if free textbooks were provided all 4 years. The survey showed that college students currently worry more about how they will afford required college textbooks than they do about paying the cost of tuition. And here's just some tables about the cost impacts on student success. 66.6% do not purchase textbooks at some point due to cost. 46.7% take fewer courses due to textbook cost. 45% choose not to register due to textbook cost, and so on. So it basically comes out to 21% off per semester, which is a huge amount of savings to CUNY students. The community, the degree, the OER degree incentive, which is the program that we're involved in now, will save students 21% in their entire associate's degree program. So a little background about what's been going on, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the grant that we're involved in. From 2010 to 2015, as part of CUNY's $10 million student financial aid initiative, the university gave $3 million to CUNY libraries to do their textbook initiative. As Lucinda was saying, some textbook initiatives came out of that. Curtis advocated for using some of that money to incentivize faculty to convert their courses. So BNCC and City Tech are the stars of CUNY in that respect. They really picked up the ball, and they each have over 40 converted courses, and you will hear more in detail from them. But they're continuing this program even without library funds. Provosts have stepped in, other programs have stepped in to help fund this program. And it's not really an expensive one, but it's really impactful. So Queensborough also had a program which was fairly successful. Kingsborough, I know, is working on a bunch of stuff, and you'll hear about that later today. At Bronx Community College, they have created some OER courses with textbook money, and they are also in a grant But we had a grant to do 6 or 7 courses, and then we have our star from Brooklyn College, Miriam Deutsch, who will tell you about her program, and Lehman is coming on board, and we hope to be a big way. So that's what's kind of happening around CUNY. If you are interested in talking to the people who are involved in it, we can steer you to them for sure. So again, back to libraries and how important they are to the facilitation and adoption of this. They're experts in content discovery, evaluation, and access. They know copyright, licensing, platforms, interoperability, scholarly communications, and open access. This was a CC BY slide. We are at the nexus of teaching and learning and research. Collaborators with administration, technology, teaching, and other learning units. So, okay, so what you may or may not know is one of the things that we did at Central was we applied for a grant to create entire degree programs at the colleges. And we received it for 3 community colleges, which was BMCC, Bronx Community College, and here, Hostos. And so we are now in the process, a 3-year grant, of converting those courses. And they're working closely with the librarians, and it's really a very exciting process that we're going through. So one of the things that we did to kick this off was we created an attribute in CUNY First. So just like you could search for a course that is a writing intensive or whatever, we now have a 0 textbook cost course designation. So you should definitely share this with your faculty who you know are already offering classes. We don't have any like real criteria. I mean, if there's no textbook, then it's a 0 textbook cost course, which doesn't mean that there aren't other costs associated with the course, but there is no textbook cost. So students can now search by that attribute, and we've had a lot of really great response to that. And the way that you do that, by the way, is your faculty has to tell the chairperson, and then they relate it to the registrar, and that's all. I think we did a search the other day for how many courses have been designated this semester, and this is the first semester, and there were like 98 sections, which is awesome. 98 sections, just first time out. So this is a really good way to get it rolling.
Many of them are already completely filled.
I'm sure. But actually, a number of them were filled, but I haven't checked it this week. So, so that's our that's leading up to the Achieving the Dream OER initiative, for which I was just telling you about. So here at Hostos, they're doing an early childhood education degree, and Jackie DeSantos is leading the charge over here. She's going to tell you more about what's going on here. At BMCC, Jean Amaral is leading the charge, and she's going to tell you more. And is anyone here from Bronx Community College? No, unfortunately. But we're doing a general ed degree there with a concentration in history and criminal justice with BMCC. So we got this money for this grant, and they expect, and we expect, that we will be scaling out as a result. I mean, we can't just do these 3 degree programs and just let it be. I mean, we need to now take this and run with it. This initiative, the back funders are probably the Hewlett Foundation, who've given a great deal of money to the OER efforts. They're always behind everything. And they sort of gave money to Achieving the Dream, so they could really not be the only funders. But the idea was to really make this a national effort. So 38 colleges are doing this, and that's awesome. And they are meeting all together once or twice a year, talking about their efforts. And the other thing that happens in this is that we're supported technically by Lumen Learning, which is an OER company, for lack of a better word. And so they provide technical support for those who would like to have it, and they will also be housing this library of courses at the end of the grant. So if each degree is approximately 24 courses times 38 colleges, that's a lot of classes. That's a big library of courses to choose from. And they are available to anyone in the world, any part or all, or however you'd like that to be. Also part of this grant, and I think I'm giving up my panel discussion by telling you everything now, but is SRI International, which is a big research, Stanford International Research Group. They're doing a big study on this, and BMCC is part of their finer study, and there will be a lot of writing about the not only success of cost savings, which is a no-brainer, but how this changes education and pedagogy and all sorts of things about student success. So that's pretty exciting. So what we want to do here at CUNY is, first of all, obviously, take these degree programs that are in place and make them appealing to other community colleges at first. So for example, criminal justice has a program at all the community colleges, Early Childhood Edge has a program. We're also in the process of the degree program, we're creating a number of big gen ed courses, meaning big enrollment numbers, that will be available to CUNY. So we're going to try and find ways to publicize that out and invite faculty to take a look, maybe be interested, make it, try and get that publicized somehow, which we are thinking about ways to doing. So recreate the Z degrees, promote the gen ed courses. Obviously, we have to identify funding sources to support and sustain this. We're looking for money outside and we're looking for money inside. As Lucinda was saying, maybe Q money, maybe ASAP money. I mean, I know that ASAP has funded OER efforts at CUNY before, so we're talking to them as well. So there are, who wouldn't buy in, right? I mean, ASAP spends $500 to $600 per student per year in textbooks. I mean, that's like a course to convert. It's amazing. So obviously we want to continue our efforts to educate and support faculty, and I think we're doing that. I think the librarians have really been amazingly, and the CETOS people too, but I don't know you, but I do know the librarians and they've been amazing. So that is our plan. The process of getting this really to happen is to create an environment where you can get release time for course conversion, develop fellowships, grants, and stipends with money that we may find, service recognition for your efforts here. We have to continue faculty development, maintain ongoing support and coordination of initiatives. And we have to articulate by creating institutional commitment to this. I mean, there has to be some sort of policies. I mean, if you read, there's always policies floating around about OER and what it means to your institution. So I think that's something that we're going to be working on as well. And that's it.